Is Amy all set?
Amy, how you doing?
I'm just about ready. Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a meeting of the North Kingstown School Committee. Today is Monday, December 1st, 2014, and tonight is our biannual organizational meeting. Before I start, I'm going to defer to our school committee attorney, Ms. Carroll, to outline the procedure for the beginning of this meeting.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Cerisi. As is the policy of the North Kingstown School Committee, when there is a biennial organizational meeting, the senior member of the school committee will run the meeting until such time as a chair is elected. Mr. Cerisi, I believe you are the senior member of the North Kingstown School Committee and that you have been the longest reigning member. And so at this time, I will turn the meeting over to you to go through the meeting organization and then run the meeting until there's an election of a chair.
Thank you. I may be the member with the most seniority, but as far as chronological senior, there's many people at this table that are ahead of me, so I just want to make that clear.
Well, as long as we're clear in that, it's the person that's been sitting at the table for the most years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. We have, first up on our agenda tonight is call to order, and if you would join us, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
There's a flag over there. Oh, it's way in the corner, over there to the right.
We'll have a flag.
The Rhode Island flag. Oh, here we go. Wow, we have a color guard even. Color guard. Julia, can you just hold it and march with it? This is your new job at every meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Healy, roll call, please.
Ms. Avanzato?
Here?
Mr. Blasberg?
Here.
Mr. Cerisi?
Here.
Ms. Clarkin?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Thank you, Mrs. Healy. Earlier this evening, at the Senior Center, we recognized our outgoing school committee members, Mrs. Page, Mr. Mudge, and Mr. Biscottin. So again, certainly thank them all for their service to the community, to our school district. So hopefully people had the opportunity, or will have the opportunity, to view that. Certainly a great amount of appreciation for all the time that they've given to our community. At this time, moving on to item 2A, election of officers. I'll take a motion at this time for item 2A, chairperson.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Larry Cerisi as chair of the North Kingstown School Committee.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in, actually, let's do a roll call vote, Mrs. Healy.
Ms. Avanzato?
Yes?
Mr. Blasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Ms. Clarkin?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, I will take a motion for item 2B, vice chairperson.
Mr. Cerisi, I'd like to offer a motion to nominate Ms. Cheryl Clarkin as Vice Chairperson of the North Kingstown School Committee.
Thank you, Mrs. Avanzato. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Avanzato?
Yes.
Mr. Blasberg?
Yes.
Mr. Cerisi?
Yes.
Ms. Clarkin?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Just want to take a quick moment before we move on just to thank my colleagues for giving me the opportunity to lead the school committee. It means a great deal to me. It's a role that I take very seriously. And again, I'd like to thank them for putting their trust and faith in me and giving me the opportunity to do so. And I look forward to working with everyone in an open-minded and a transparent fashion and really come together as a group and really have a proactive approach to things that we will face. And I look forward to working with this group. I look forward to working with our community and all the staff out at our schools and our administration. Certainly have a number of challenges ahead of us, both from the educational perspective. Lots of new challenges always coming down the line. And I feel we have good leadership in place to take on those challenges. And we always have the financial challenges. We have another budget season, which we will be kicking off just in a few weeks. I think Mrs. King started it about 6 months ago, but we don't really touch it.
I wish I had, actually.
So that'll be very challenging. And also we have one of our bargaining units contracts expires this June. So certainly will be challenging as well. Hopefully we can all work together and accomplish a lot. So thank you very much. Moving on to appointments of standing committees and liaisons. Discussing some of this, we've tried to streamline this a little bit with the committee being downsized from 7 members to 5 members. So we're trying to streamline our liaison positions in our subcommittees a little bit to make sure that we get all these positions filled. And if there's something that we missed tonight, that certainly doesn't mean that we're not going to fill it or we're not going to address it. It's something that we may address or take a look at in the next meeting or two coming up. So one of the items on here we're going to remove from the agenda, if there's no objection from my colleagues, is 3D2, the budget liaison position. And having some discussions with my colleagues, we're going to take a look at kind of reformatting that into something else and putting it on our next agenda for the committee to consider. So at this time, I am looking for a nomination for an appointment to the Facilities Management and Planning Subcommittee.
Well, I would be inclined to nominate Bob and maybe Greg, but I don't know if they, I want to make sure people have an interest before I go ahead and do that. Greg, would you be interested in that position?
My question would be, are we planning on putting 2 members on each committee? I don't know if that's the plan.
For these facility subcommittee, we've traditionally had 1 member. Certainly 2 could serve if there were 2 people interested, but in the past we've had 1 member on that subcommittee. So
I would tell you that that's something that I know probably the least about. I am one of the least construction and building-oriented people you will meet. So for that reason, I may not be the best choice for that particular case.
Well, I bet you know more than I do, but maybe not. Bob, how about you?
Yeah, my feeling though, Greg, is that, you know, we were fortunate to have John Muscardin, who obviously had expertise, and so, but we're also fortunate to have obviously good folks in the administration who chair this, as well as a bevy of talented people who volunteer their time from the community. So I would look at this more, not only the facility side, but the planning side, which I think, you know, you might bring some expertise to. Again, we were fortunate that John could lend a little bit of knowledge in that area, but I think from the committee's perspective, I think it's more a role of sort of being kind of planner and manager and liaison with especially as a committee of 1.
I'm certainly, you know, willing to
why don't we do this, if there's no objections? We can table that
No, it's all right.
item.
I'm gonna make a
And I
motion.
think, if there's somebody who wants to be on it, we can,
Is that you didn't want to do it at all?
No, but I'll help you if you.
Well, I would
you know.
agree to that as well.
You can take turns.
That's what I was thinking.
We
you
can
just
work together.
Share the
on it.
position a bit. Well, then I'll make a motion to nominate both Greg and Bob to the Facilities Subcommittee.
is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the Wellness Subcommittee, which traditionally we've had one member as a liaison to the Wellness Subcommittee. Is there a nomination for an appointment or a volunteer for the appointment to the Wellness Subcommittee?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mrs. Avanzato to the Wellness Committee. She served on that for several years.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Policy Subcommittee. Traditionally, we've had 3 members on this committee. Obviously, we're going to, under the new format, only be able to have 2 members on this committee. So at this time, are there any volunteers, nominations?
Well, I've had the pleasure of serving on the Policy Committee for the last 2 years, so I'll volunteer to continue that service.
And I would as well. I've worked with Kim on a couple, Mrs. Page, on a couple policies in the past, and I'm willing to work on that as well.
Great.
And if one of you can't attend, I would be happy to step in and attend any meetings that you can't attend.
Great. Do I have a motion to, for Mrs. Clarkin and Mr. Blasswell on the
So
policies?
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Last position is the School Committee Liaison to CELAC. I've been serving in that role for the past 8 years. If the committee wishes, I'd certainly be willing to carry on in that position.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Larry to continue in that, Mr. Cerisi, to continue in that position.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Again, I just want to make clear that certainly, as much as we might like it to, doesn't end our liaison positions and subcommittee positions. There's a couple of more things that we need to discuss, both as a committee and with the administration as well, to shake out, and very well maybe having a couple of other things on our upcoming agenda as the committee sees fit. So, moving on to 4A, designation of authorized signatures. Would authorize Superintendent Dr. Roger, Director of Administrative Services Mary King, to sign all documents, including special funds, and Steve Janelle, Controller, to sign bills, purchase orders, vouchers, and warrants. This is a standard practice. We authorize our administration to do this at every biannual reorganizational meeting. So if I will entertain a motion at this time to approve this agenda item.
I'd like to make a motion to approve that item.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item B, appointment of school committee clerk. Again, this is something that we do as routine business at every biannual reorganizational meeting. We've currently been fortunate enough to have Mrs. Amy Healy as our clerk. Is there a motion at this time to reappoint Mrs. Amy Healy as the school committee clerk?
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Mrs. Healy as the school committee clerk.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Section 5 is reviews, meeting dates, school committee calendar, open meetings laws, powers and duties of school committee. Those items are routine items and there for committee review and for public review. If there's no further questions or discussion at this time, I don't know if the administration has anything. Questions, discussion? No?
Just one quick
Sure, I apologize. I would like to give my colleagues an opportunity if there's a quick word they would like to say before we adjourn, so I'll...
Very quick. I'm going to keep it quick. I just wanted to acknowledge and thank Kim for all the hard work she's done on this committee, and I've served with her for 6 years, and she did a lot of work. She put so much time in, just an amazing amount of time and effort, and I think most of us are aware of that and really appreciate that. So I enjoyed serving with her, and I wanted to thank her for that, and I also wanted to acknowledge John and Bill and thank them for their service as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mrs. Alvarado. Anyone else? Quick comment before we wrap up. Mr. Jones?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Cerisi. I'd just like to make the comment about, since our calendar, at least for this year, is fairly set, but just a couple points, especially Tuesdays after Monday holidays, being a little more challenging, so we're cognizant of those. And to the extent we have tried to encourage, and maybe with a new committee, we might see more folks attending. There seems to be a little upsurge in the past few months. That we, as much as possible, items that are within the school administration's control, avoid scheduling conflicting events on the Tuesdays of school committee meetings to enable at least maximum potential for be it student, parents, or community members to attend.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Black?
Again, I want to thank Mrs. Page and the former members, Mr. Mudge and Mr. Brascarden, for their time. I'm well aware, having sat with a different view for a while now, of how much goes on, not only at the meetings, but also what people forget is how much goes on behind the scenes. And I'll thank them for their past service, and for being the only new member here. I'll thank the rest of you for your continuing service, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Congratulations, and certainly welcome aboard. Mrs. Clarkin?
I think you've all covered it, but I sincerely want to thank Kim. She has given more time and hours and energy into the school committee, much more so than any person I think could possibly give, and she's done an incredible job. So, it's now our shoes to fill to try to follow in that role. So thank you for your time and commitment to all of the students and, the taxpayers in this town. You did a phenomenal job, and I'm glad that I had your guidance through a lot of this process. And also, John, I ran into him earlier today, and he's doing well. He's recovering, so that's a good thing. And to Mr. Mudge, because he did serve for many years on this school committee and contributed a lot. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I'm grateful for all the people that have given their time and talent to serve for this community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mrs. Clarkin. Dr. Roger?
Thank you. I want to welcome Mr. Blasbalk to the committee, and I want to express my congratulations to Mr. Cerisi, Mrs. Clarkin, for their new leadership positions. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, including Mr. Blasbalk, over these years in my leadership role, and I'm looking forward to a very good committee for the next few years. So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, if there's no further discussion at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.